Awesome. So let's talk about this really quickly. I'm gonna leave you with this. She asked me to cook and then called Canada police. This was the story I was engaged with earlier today on Clubhouse, and there were two guys. One guy told us the story of his wife, who basically called the police on him, but he married somebody that he didn't know very well, and they met in church. And but before that, he was basically pushing a lot of rhetorics, manosphere rhetorics, and once they say two or three sentences, you know where they're coming from. They don't really realize that because they're probably brand new in the manosphere too. So I don't judge them. They just googled something yesterday, they stumble into manosphere, so they think they learn something new, and then they start to spread it. This woman, he just kept saying this woman, and he said some. He did say some. He tried to sugarcoat what he's saying into some, but then when he was saying the rest of it, it sounded like he was saying they were 98% of the people. Right? It sounded like he was saying 98% of women. Okay, so eventually he now said he thinks women should behave more. Women in diaspora in the Obodo Oyinbo, he said that they should behave more like the Indian women. Okay, so strike number one: comparing your lady to another lady, or comparing your man to another man. It's a no-go area. Don't do it. It has bad results. It creates bad results. It doesn't matter how positive what you're saying is, or how good what you're saying or suggesting is for them. They can't hear you anymore. Once you're comparing them, okay, what they hear is that, oh, you feel I'm less than the other person. Okay, so he kept saying that our women should engage professionalism and climb more ladders like the Indian women. Okay, that black women, they don't realize, right? This is what the things he was saying before I engaged him to the point that he started to tell us some stories. Right. Of course, I can always tell that it's personal, right? You guys can always tell too. At this point, you should be able to tell. Okay. So he went on. He kept saying, "Oh, they should act like Indian women. These Indian women, they are climbing the ladders, corporate ladders. But our women, our black women, are believing anything that the white man, they are buying into white men's social systems. They rather collect the welfare system because it's easier." And he was saying all kind of stuff like that. He's also a Kevin Samuel fan, which I'm not sure if he understands that if Kevin Samuel were hearing him talk, he would have been the first to drag him. Kevin Samuels was first known to drag men before he blew up dragging women. A lot of men still don't realize that. Like, his original content was dragging men for not being men. A lot of people don't realize that. Anyway, so he kept going. So I now engaged him. I said, okay, so he now started to tell the story. He's an oil and gas guy, he travel, is always out there on the street. For 2 months, he's traveled most of the time. But he married a chick that was on the deportation list. So apparently what she wanted was Bali. She just wants her green card, right? And then she set all of this up. But the lady, according to him, his story, he said he has hardcore evidence and everything. According to him, this lady set everything up, but it got to a point she was listening to Terrible Friends. Okay. So on one side of his mouth, it sounded like this person set me up. They just wanted to rob me. They just want party. They don't really like me. On the other side, he said she's listening to a bunch of bad friends, right? What happened eventually is that he said somebody was teaching her to just find a way to get him on domestic violence. If you get him arrested on domestic violence, they will give you your papers on asylum. Something like that. And she tried to follow through with that. Something happened, an argument happened. She called the cop on him. Called the police on him. Like I say, police. I'm not sure if Nigerian people know what cop is. I think they know, but right? And called the police on him. right? So, but then the prosecutor tried to get him on charges. I think I think he might have admitted to hitting her with a wallet on the head or tried to be arrested, but basically he ended up in divorce. He lost two cars. He was able to keep his home because he had rented it out. And then they continued into the rhetoric and say women should, women should, women should, women should. So I now grilled him a little bit, and I said, hey, you know, I believe you. I believe the story you're telling, you know, because people get to share their experiences, their experience, right? You can't argue with that. Anytime somebody shared their experience with me, I actually think that's brave to share your experience. A lot of them would not even tell you is their story. They would just be copying and be generalizing like maniacs. He was open to share some, and it was open. I think it's because it's new. Eventually, we'll learn that he will be dragged with those stories, and then he will start 100% just generalizing all over the place. But when people share their experience, I think they're right.
Well, you're right.
So, but he kept pushing and pushing. And then another gentleman came to the stage. This one lives in Canada. Apparently, he had helped this girl get to Canada from the UK. And now they are going through it. Custody battle, divorce. It's messy. He said that she had traveled away with his babies to the UK now again, but they do have court dates coming. So somebody was trying to say, hey, she's never bringing those babies back again. It's like, no, they have court dates coming. But he kept going in and he was very strong about his opinions. It wasn't too manosphere-ish. I think he hasn't found the manosphere yet. It's only a matter of time. He will Google and find it. But but he was going in heavy. He was going in heavy, and you could tell that he's going through it right now. And I felt like, wow, children involved. I typically don't solicit. I don't. I use inbound marketing only. Only people that sort us want the books. You go through the coaching program and all that kind of stuff. The link. By the way, this is the link right here. Let me just share the link. Just since I'm referencing, I could plug it right here. Okay, coaching sessions. lolanola.com/coaching. So I was like, wait, do you have a counselor? Do you have a wise counsel? Do you have a therapy? Somebody you're talking to? And it's like, not quite. I do have a pastor. It said it was like, he was very, very, he wanted to help people. Okay. As usual, when they're going through this pain, they're very quick to try to help other people, and they're not equipped to help anyone. Because you need to help yourself first before you can help other people, especially emotional matters. You have to help yourself first. At least get out of the situation first, right? But they were both trying to help men, I guess. One of the gentlemen that was listening came to the stage. He said, hey, can you tell us the name of the girl who tried to steal Bali through you, right? And he couldn't say the name. I said, you want to help people, tell them the name now. He didn't want to say the name. I said, okay. So this is cap. You can't, you're not trying to help. You're just venting. You can't help no one.
Cap.
You can't really help anybody, So these are some of the issues that we're dealing with. I believe the stories when they come out. What I always call cap on is, where's the rest of the story?
Cap.
What happened, right? Now, the other gentleman, the oil and gas guy, he admitted that he did a terrible job. He didn't do his research about this young lady. He should have done a better job. He admitted to that. I forced that out of him by asking him, I said, what would you do better today? Because it seems like, hey, it's just this woman who don't want to be like the Indian woman climbing corporate ladder. There's no relevance between that and what happened to you, sir. Right? You start generalizing. The women just want welfare. These are not your story. You're not an African American person. Why is this your story? Where you're coming from in Nigeria, there's barely any kind of social system. So I don't know what, but they engage it. Majority of people, ladies that I know, are professionals that have never eaten. They don't even know what week is. They don't know what social welfare is. Right? But we know that people use it when they need to use it. But to directly blame that for the breakdown of the family structure, the fact that the Nigerian man would try to correlate that together and act like that's his problem, That's a problem. It's cap as usual, right? It's cap. Okay? It's leg work. Okay? It's cap. Okay?
You think say they wise?
Will it work? But here's the thing. I feel their pain when you go through this kind of breakfast. When you chop breakfast to that level, it's only natural for you to start to see that, wow, it looks like evil is everywhere. But that's why you need healing. So the last question that I asked the first gentleman, I said, listen, I have one last question for you. I said, what if as you've been saying majority, even though at one side you said some, but then you end up saying majority. Majority of them are majority, and you're comparing your own women to Indian women. Nothing wrong, nothing against Indian women. I don't know them. I don't engage them in romantic way. I've never really done that. So I don't know what world they live in. I'm disconnected from that world, right? So nothing against them. But when you compare your own to other people, comparisons work against you. Go and look at your mate. You say that to your husband, it will work against you. You're just going to collect. That's last. Because it can, I don't know what you're trying to do, but there's no good fruits in that. It's not going to work. What you need to do is engage that person and see if you can negotiate in a loving way. I don't even like using the word negotiating because it sounds like there's no love there, right? But bottom line is that there's a need that needs to be fulfilled. Learning how to communicate in a way that retains attraction, romance, because that's what it is at the end of the day, right? It's not beans, right? It's stuff that a lot of people need to learn how to do, right? So, and I said, what if I offered you that I believe your story? I know people personally that have done what you're saying, calling the police, random police on their husband because of a disagreement. Sometimes some of them, they just didn't feel safe. It looks like somebody's gonna slap the nonsense out of them. And some people are just, they've heard enough of that. They're like, you know what, I'll call the police, and they'll call the police because they don't want things to escalate. Or maybe they're truly afraid like that. What I feel is that a lot of women are truly afraid, and it's better that they call the police than to have to call the authorities that somebody has been deleted. Does that not happen? It happens now. They didn't think it can happen, right? So in that case, I was like, what if I offer you that, even though I believe your story and I've seen that example too, what if I offered you that they're still the minority? That they're still the minority. I needed anybody that's gone through stuff like this, I need you to understand that that's still the minority, meaning your best life, your best world, your best experience is still ahead of you. Unless you get stuck in this funk that majority are like this. If you get stuck there, I can't help you. Because you ultimately, you have to be right.
Well, you're right.
There's a lot of people struggling with generalizations at very, very toxic levels. We have to be careful. All right, so we're gonna round up there. This sounds like something I saw a long time ago. I don't know if it's the same light-skinned effing guy who lives in. Jesus Christ. Share with me on the side. It might be. Not the right time to try to help anyone. Yeah, no one should be trying to help anyone if you need help. I'm glad you finally took some accountability. Yeah, it took a minute. After when you twisted it. Yeah. Shout out to you all. Kathy, thank you for being here. Chinje, shout out Rebecca. Good to see you all. They generalize with their fullest chest. Yep, it's the truth. Those are just facts. And then they say, I won't call it facts because honestly, somebody's going to tell me to bring facts or data. I'm like, well, you already said this is how you feel. It's your feelings. It's not facts. And it makes sense that you feel that way if you don't collect water. Yeah, I understand. Breakfast will do that to you now.
Collect water.
It too. Breakfast will do that to you. So I empathize with them, but my empathy is enough. You need to do the work. You know, it's not majority of. So when I asked him that question, I'll leave you all with this. He said, and I said, "Can I offer you that is still the minority?" He said, It was very pleasant guy. He was like, "Yeah, I'll take 50-50." I was like, okay, all right. But that's a war zone. When you say that's 50-50, people are just walking around looking for people to hurt. That's a war zone. That's not reality. You're living in a fantasy world where everyone is going through what you went through. Misery loves company, and that's just not the reality. You went through what you went through. It's supposed to make you feel that way, but you need to heal and come out on the other side and become even a better human being with some experience. Shout out to Oyadi Jare. Oyadi, sorry, I didn't mean to forget you. I'll try to see if I can find that his video. Oh, it could be. It could be. Thank you, Rebecca. Oyadi says, meet Gao, manosphere, mansplaining, flash splaining, all kind of time. May God help us. Oh, may God help us. On your way out, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure, this is very important. We need to wake up the algorithm. Share this video to 10 people by email before you go to bed. Okay? I'm done right now, I promise. I'm done. I will see you live on the next Serene Sundays. It's going to be 5 p.m. Sunday. Okay? Listen, 2 days a week. Okay? I'll hang out with you. If you want to keep conversations going, feel free to come behind the scenes. You can find us on WhatsApp. Okay? Just go to lolaanola.com/WhatsApp. You could join lolaanola.com/WhatsApp. If you want to share ideas with me, content ideas. By the way, I saw all the responses to the survey that I did. Those were some interesting surveys in terms of what courses you want me to create. Those were some interesting answers. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. Some interesting answers to just say the list. You can download the books for free at loveandprestige.com. That will also give you access to the coaching, and this is access to the coaching right there, like this. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.